Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Very Connected August support group, where we are going to be talking about tools for transformation and habit changes. I'd love to hear from some of you as you are joining on our live event. If you're listening to the replay, you're welcome to comment in the comment sections as well. I'd love to know where you're from. And if this is your first time joining, if you've joined us before, if you've had bariatric surgery, if you're planning on having bariatric surgery, anything you'd like to share about yourself. If you've had a weight loss, if you have something to celebrate, let us know. And I'll kind of start too, for those of you who may not know me, if you're new to our group, I just want to say thank you for being here. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself too. So my name is Brenda. I am a nurse that works with ProCare Health, which is a vitamin and supplement company. And we created these Very Connected podcasts to share on really just topics that are related to bariatric surgery and help support all of you, because we found that, support is one of the biggest things that can help people on their weight loss surgery journey. And thank you guys for commenting. We got all kinds of people. We have Wesley from Moorfield, Nebraska. We have Christopher, and he's just starting the process. We have Dakota from Atlanta, Georgia. She is pre-op for a VSG. We have Kelly, a Texan, and over 30 years post-op. That's incredible. I bet you have some points to share here too. So this is meant to be interactive, guys. Please, please, please feel free to share. None of you will be on camera. At this point, we're just going to be using our chat features, the chat box. So if you're comfortable and you're just hanging out on this beautiful Thursday evening, just taking it easy. We have Kelsey. She is from Iowa. We have Marcy from Arizona. Kundera, Darius, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Carla, Jose, Destiny, Charlie, Leah, Talina, hope I'm saying that right. Melissa, we have Sydney, we have Leslie, we have Jenny, we have Terry, we have Jennifer, all kinds of people just still commenting from all over the United States and Canada. We usually have some people from Canada here too. So keep the comments coming, and I'm going to be watching all of them because I just love hearing from each of you. So let's get started. So I also have weight loss surgery. I'm also a patient. I had weight loss surgery back in 2013, so it's been 11 years. And I had probably at my first 2 years, I lost about 80 pounds, got down to my goal weight, and then I had some weight regain. And if you've been on our calls before, you know that over the last year, I've been really refocusing, getting back to some different things with my own journey, and have lost my regain and about another 5 pounds. So I'm excited about that. Really, it's never too late, no matter where you are in your journey. Keep going. It's about a journey. There's not really a final destination, no matter where you are. It just keeps going, and life just gets better and better. It doesn't mean you're not going to be forced with challenges. And that's why we're going to be talking today about habits and how they play out. And whenever I was making this support group, what I was finding is that I was kind of trying to incorporate some of the things I've learned over my own journey as far as habits and things like that, and the things that's kind of helped me the most. My background is bariatric surgery for probably I've worked as a coordinator, and now I work with ProCare Health doing support and these kind of things, podcast. Probably for bariatric surgery, I've been in this field for 2010, 11, somewhere in there. And before that, I did emergency room nursing. I have been super interested in holistic health. So I have a certification in something called Healing Touch. And also just coaching, life coaching. I have a certification because I've always felt like it's so important to help ourselves in our own journey and try to be the best aspect of ourselves that we can. Because when you're the best aspect and you show up the best way you can, you actually give permission to other people to do that and do the same. Looks like we have some more people joining. Keep the comments coming. That's great. And you know what? It is a big decision. If you're pre-op, listen in. And I tell you what, for me, whenever I was pre-op, I still remember I was working for a bariatric surgery program, and it took me a full year to make that leap and make that choice. And I think it was because I was scared. Who wouldn't be scared? I guess, it's exciting. So fear, the feelings that you get from fear and also the feelings that you get from being passionate and excited about something are kind of close. It's kind of like that excitement that builds up. But my choice was, I always ask myself, is my fear of having surgery greater or my fear of staying the same? And my fear of staying the same and not changing and just doing the same things over and over was greater. And we're going to be talking about making changes, because kind of for me, changes sometimes can be, how can I say this? Sometimes it can make you uncomfortable. And sometimes if we live in that comfort zone our whole life, we become uncomfortable in that comfort zone just because we keep doing the same things over and over. So how about let's get uncomfortable just enough to start making some changes. Okay. And we're going to be talking about that. And what I mean by this is kind of talk about what we're going to be talking about, I guess. Here, let me kind of look at that a little bit. We're going to be talking about some tools to transforming. We're going to be talking about some things I've learned with my holistic health. I mentioned the healing touch and energy being, our whole bodies are energy. Everything in our body is energy. Our thoughts are energy. Our muscles, our bones, our thoughts, everything is energy. And how we put that out into the world and how we change that. There are some techniques that can be used. We're going to be talking about affirmations, EFT tapping. We're going to be talking about food swaps. We're going to be talking about using some templates. We're going to be talking about distraction, all different kinds of things. And we're going to talk about what habits are. They're kind of almost like formed in a loop. Okay. And so I'm going to be explaining that more too. So here we go. And there is some people that are talking here about, Terry says, my life has become so much better. I live to eat and don't live to eat to live and don't live to eat. I get down on the floor and play with my grandkids. So those things, they do make a difference. The way that we're able to interact with others and how we're able to show up in our everyday life. Stephanie says, I don't drink soda anymore. I use water enhancements. Charlie says, I love water and Gatorade Zero. And Wesley says, same here, Stephanie. Quit soda 6 months ago. So keep the comments coming. I'm going to get started, but I am going to pause periodically just to kind of ask for comments and see what you guys have to say, because it's so important. And Marcia says, I started working in the gym. So yeah, so some things like that. We're talking here about habits being nutrition, physical activity, water, protein. We're talking about so many little things, all of those things. And actually not even just that. How about your habits related to your career? How about habits related to your finances? How about habits related to your spirituality or your relationships? All of these different things matter. It's not just one little part of our life. Obviously, we're going to be focusing in somewhat on our health here, because that is why a lot of you guys are on this call. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. And here we go. I'm going to our ProCare Health website, which is the site here where you can find the handouts for today's session. And I want to give a shout out to ProCare Health. I met the owners of ProCare Health whenever I first started working in the bariatric field back in about 2010, 2011. and they would come and help do support groups for me. And we actually sold their vitamins out of our clinic, and we sold probably 3 or 4 different kinds of vitamins, but ProCare was our biggest seller just because of the price point, and people loved quality of the products and the price and just all over. So products are always here, and we'll kind of talk about this a little bit later if we have time. Also kind of go over to this Bari Connected tab, BARI Connected. That's the name of our podcast. And there's a little tab under that called Support Group Handouts. And if you're listening and not actually watching this episode, go to procarenow.com. Okay, procarenow.com. And when you get to the support group handouts page, guys, there's tons and tons and tons of resources there. We just kind of reorganized it by topic titles. So we have recipes, we have nutrition and eating, we have vitamins, supplementation, we have mental health, we have physical activity, we have lifestyle tools, surgery tools, guest speaker presentations, all of that. This presentation in particular can be found under habits, and it's under mental health behavioral modification. Okay. It's about halfway down that page, and there are 5 handouts for this, the presentation itself, and then all of these separate handouts that we're going to be talking about. And I have them already pulled up for us, so we don't have to kind of spend time doing all of that. So I'm going to pop on first to our presentation, and I kind of already did an introduction of myself. So I'm going to kind of go to this, and this is what we're going to be sharing today on. We're going to be talking about full awareness. And I also want to pull up, I have just the opportunity. Okay, I'm pulling up the chat box so I can kind of watch those come through as I'm sharing my screen. So we're going to be talking about full awareness, how to become more aware of what your habits are and why you want to change, how to identify triggers and what rewards are, okay? And why is that important? Why is it important to become aware? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about affirmations, which are short, mindful phrases that emphasize intention. And thank you, Stephanie. She just shared the website, procarenow.com. And I had copied it. I did not paste that. So thank you for doing that. I truly appreciate it. It's procarenow.com. And we're going to be talking about EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, how to neutralize when you have something that triggers you. If it's something that negatively triggers you, and how to change the response. And we're going to be talking about distraction, engagement, how to distract yourself from an old habit and enlist a new one. And then we're going to be talking about how to set reminders and help remind yourself of these changes and how to reinforce those changes. I'd love to know if any of you guys have ever kind of studied habits before. Have you ever done anything specifically to try to change habits? And if you have, maybe even it's something that's helped you. Okay. So feel free to share away. We have someone commenting here on, I think it just popped off. So let's see. Somebody says, my trigger at home and trying to eat when I'm bored, having to say no and keep busy. Jenny says, EFT has made a huge difference for me. Yes. I feel like it's very super incredibly simple, but what it does is EFT is basically a way to send signals to the amygdala, which is a point in our brain that is our kind of like helps with our responses to things, our neural pathways. And what it does is it helps to stop those trigger signals, those stress signals. EFT is called emotional freedom technique, and I'm going to kind of get more deeply into it. Kelsey says I've used affirmations in the past, and it's really helped how I felt about myself. And yeah, EFT is somewhat a way of, it's called emotional freedom technique. And there's different places on the body that you actually tap, and you help instill a new thought pattern or a new belief system. Because I found that, when we kind of just get into mainstream society, we recognize that sometimes we just pick up on other people's thoughts and patterns and we think they're our own and we just start repeating those. Or maybe we just get into this repetitive pattern of something that was easy in the beginning and we just keep repeating it because it's kind of just simply been something that our brain tells us to do. So, okay, so we're going to go to the next slide here. And we're going to talk about becoming fully aware of a habit. So, number one, the very first thing is identification and identifying what you want to change. Okay. And so let's do that. Like, is there something, a habit that you have that you would like to change? Maybe it's late night eating. Somebody's mentioning that. Maybe it is, maybe it's eating certain kinds of foods, maybe fast food. I know I was a fast food person. Another big habit for me was chips. I always liked chips so much. Maybe it's not being able to drink water. So it may be a habit that you're wanting to instill that you don't have yet. Maybe it's a habit of not eating certain foods in the order that you want to eat them. Like if you eat your protein first, a lot of times you can get more protein in. So maybe it's physical activity. Maybe you're wanting to get more physical activity. Okay. So somebody's also mentioning something about jewelry, which is silicone jewelry, which helps with probably pushes on acupuncture points. I've heard of those before. I've not really tried them before, but anything related to ways to change, keep those coming. Okay. So number one, first of all, let me know, put it out there, what your habits are that you'd like to change, because we want to become aware of at least one habit that you have that you want to think about changing. Okay. So somebody says eating too fast. That was probably one of my biggest habits that I had that I've still 11 years later still working on somewhat. I have found that I have been able to slow down quite significantly. I think part of that was just me growing up, being in a large family. You're sitting down at a table, you grab what you want right away. Also, being a nurse in the healthcare field and making your mealtime like so quick. Sometimes just eating on the go. Also, with being in a fast-paced society, a lot of times fast food. I see Dakota saying fast food, eating that. So that's the first thing, identifying what you want to change. Number two, your why. Like, why do you want to change? Why do you not want to eat fast? For me, eating fast, I wanted to slow down because number one, after bariatric surgery, it made me feel ill if I ate too fast. Not really the eating too fast part, but not listening to my hunger signals. And if I was eating too fast, I wasn't able to hear those hunger signals. Another habit for me of wanting to change is drinking more water. And why that is because, water hydration is so important for so many things. It's important for our skin. It's important for how we feel. It's important for our hydration level. Okay. So number two is your why. So it could be your physical health, your mental well-being, your emotional stability, your spirituality. All of those things matter. Number three, triggers. So conscious versus unconscious. So how about we do things more consciously? We are mentally, we're built to have certain conscious patterns and unconscious. And so physical things come into your environment. And when they come in as unconscious and we change them to more conscious, we're able to change the pattern. So that's what our thought process is by knowing what we want to change, but also knowing what triggers us can be helpful. It could be things, the triggers, what I'm meaning here too is, what things in your environment are triggering you. So if it's having food in your house, maybe fast food or having sodas or things like pizzas or chips or things like that, chocolate, those are all like highly triggerable things for me. And noticing that and realizing it and knowing how I can get around that. Like your environment is important. What's in front of you is what you see. And a lot of times it's suggestive to your mind. thoughts that are sabotaging? So are there things that come into your mind like I'm not worthy of that or I'm not deserving of that? And sometimes we don't always know what those are. Do we know that we are deserving? Knowing is a powerful thing. The emotional components. How does your emotions? Do you get highly charged with these high emotions and then drop down to these lows of depression and things like that? And how can you change that? Or maybe it's a need for approval. We were joined by Rodolfo Alvarez this last week, and he talked about people pleasing, and so much of that was incredible. The replay for that is on our ProCare Health Very Connected page, and also on our Very Connected YouTube channel, which I'll show you guys how to get to those later on. But people pleasing is incredible because when we're always looking out for the other people, while we think that that's helpful, it's not always helpful for us, especially if we're not listening to our inner cues. And then number 4 is rewards. Why do we do these things? We do it because maybe it's just repetitive and it's just become part of our daily routines. We do it to calm ourselves. We emphasize, if it's the mental well-being component, we emphasize whatever our belief systems are. So if we feel unworthy, we're emphasizing that unworthiness. We emphasize if we're not trusting the world. We emphasize that we're not deserving. We emphasize lack. We don't have enough or we don't have whatever. I'm going to kind of go back to our comments, and I'm going to kind of look to see some of these. Okay. Coming in so fast. Okay. And I know that there is someone, Charlie's asking, how do I get credit for this group? It's my first group. If you're attending this support group as a part of a requirement for your pre-surgical support, some insurances require that, some programs require that. If you're required to do that and your program has told you about these support groups, what I do is about a week from now, so 1 week post now, I send attendance on these support groups to your facilities, and you will get your attendance through that. So I send your name, your email. I'm sorry, not your email. I send your name and I send what program you're with. And I have about 50 facilities that I send those to. So if your facility is one of those, you can check with your facility to check to see if they are. You just ask your program coordinators. And I do send attendance. And if your program isn't and they want attendance, my email, they're welcome to email me, or you can email me. It's Hayne, my last name, HOEHN, my first initial, B as in Brenda, at ProCareNow.com. So Hayne, HOEHN, B at ProCareNow.com. So, okay, here we go. Number 1, these are some simple tools that we're going to be talking about today. Affirmations, which are start mindful phrases that emphasize intention. And years ago, I think it's probably been about 20, almost 30 years ago, really, I made a choice for myself. I made a choice that I was going to try to be as intentional with my life as possible. And what that meant to me at the time was more of a religious thing. It's not religious to me anymore. It's more of a spiritual practice, but it is about, at the time I said, everything's going to be a prayer, meaning an intention. And the more and more you think about that, the more and more you think about life being an intention and what you want, it becomes more powerful. So we're going to talk about how you can use your intention to make affirmations. Number 2, the emotional freedom technique, and we're going to be showing that. There's handouts for each of these, so you do not have to remember all of this. Number 3 is distractions and engagement. So we're going to be talking about how to distract from an old habit and enlist in new ones. And we're going to be talking about how to do that with food, and we're going to be talking about swapping out foods. And number 4 is some setting reminders, how to do that, and how you can change. Looks like Chelina says the prayers on the Berrytastic app are so incredible. Yes, really anything that you have that's an intention and you set it into your heart, it becomes your reality. And I know some of you too here, I see some of you guys are putting your names out there that you're with a program. When you registered for this event, if you are watching this event through Zoom webinar, which you are right now on the live event, but if you're listening on the replay, I will have collected all of that information. So no need to have to put it in here. It is all there for me in your registration when you first registered. So we'll make sure and get that to where it needs to be. Okay, here we go. The first thing, affirmations. And I know some of you said that you had heard of affirmations before. If you haven't heard of affirmations before, comment in the comment section because I'm kind of curious to know how many people haven't heard of that term. I think these are things that we should be teaching our kids in kindergarten, in grade school, in high school, in college. But affirmations are just little short phrases. Okay, so for example, I am confident in the decisions I make. So if you have like a lack of confidence, so you would want to use something that reinforces what you want. And you should use things in the present tense when you're using an affirmation. So as it is right now. And if you have a hard time with an affirmation being in the present tense, and it's all about how you feel in the moment while you're feeling it, like your emotions, pay attention. If your emotions drop when you say an affirmation, you actually may be creating the opposite because your emotions should reinforce that behavior. So feeling good while you say these affirmations is much more powerful than saying them in a lack response, like in a way of feeling the lack. Okay. So you don't want to amplify the fear. You want to actually diminish the fear. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And it looks like some of you already have been using affirmations. I love some of the comments. So if you're having a lack of confidence, something like I am confident in the decisions I make, again, you're saying the I am phrase is powerful. I am, and then whatever it is. So you're using it in present tense, like it's happening right now. The second thing there is if you're having problems with sabotaging yourself, and I like to say, if you've listened to me talk about self-sabotage before, I think it's like self-defense. I think we're protecting ourselves from something. We're not actually trying to hurt ourselves. We're trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt. So we're doing something in a response to what we may have consistently, we believe in ourselves versus telling the truth. So something like, I don't know that I will be able to follow through on what it takes to be able to make these changes versus I am true to myself. Okay. So if you're believing, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. I don't know if I'll be able to make changes. I'm scared. You could say something like, I'm true to myself. So you're following your truth. You're following that. If you don't have faith in your process, if you don't trust in your process, if you don't believe that you're going to be able to lose the weight, that you're going to be able to keep it off. That was a big fear for me. I don't know, does anybody else feel that way? So maybe you say, I don't believe that I'm able to make changes. I don't believe that these will stick versus all things are possible. So I have a little handout here. And again, these are back on that handouts page on our ProCare Health website. The affirmations. So the affirmations page that I have are just ones that I found for myself that I've collected over the years that have been helpful for me. Find things that resonate for you. So I have some on health, on life, on work and finances, on home, and on relationships. This list that I'm pulling up on the computer right now is probably hard for you guys to read because it's small print. So I'm just going to kind of read some off. Somebody said all things are possible. Yes. Yes. So, somebody's saying, I'm worried that I fall back into bad habits. So something like, I trust in the process, or if you're not quite there yet, you can say, I believe it's possible to trust in the process. I know that I'm making changes to be able to trust in the process. Lead yourself up to it. Build yourself up. So affirmations on health maybe be, I am confident in the judgments and decisions I make. If you're not quite there yet, I know that it's possible to believe in myself, or I know it's possible that I could, at some point, make judgments that I know and believe and feel true to myself. I understand that food fuels my body. The universe, this is probably one of the most powerful ones. It's an Einstein affirmation, and it's I feel or the universe is friendly and I am supported in everything I do. Because if you believe the universe is friendly and you're supported, when things happen in your life and you start letting go of the judgments of things being good or things being bad. Because if you feel like you're supported in everything you do, everything is working out for you. Everything is working out for you. Even the most challenging situations, even the most life devastating things that seem at the time like they're hurtful. If you truly believe, and I'm talking about a belief that you know in your heart that everything's working out for you, that can get you through almost anything. Um, I love you guys how you're putting out there. So the thing is these things that you have these fears built up about, whether it's your weight coming back, whether it is not being able to make the change or stick to the change, whether it's regaining your weight, whatever it may be, write that down. Because what you want to do is you want to take an affirmation that flips that. Okay. So if you're fearful of gaining weight back, you may say, I trust in the process. I know it's possible. Other people have done this before. I know it's possible to lose the weight and keep it off. Or if you're not even there yet, you can say, I know it's possible to find the answers I need to get there, to make those changes, to know that I can do things that I never thought I could do before. So talking yourself up that stair steps can be powerful. And so some other ones here is I weigh my perfect weight. If you don't believe that yet, say, I know it's possible. Other people that are my size have been able to get to their perfect weight. I know I've done other incredible things in this world before, and I know that I can make changes. You can say, I'm loved and I'm lovable. I'm protected in every moment. I'm supported in the things I do. I have faith that all happens for my highest good and the highest good of all others. I am thankful for all of this. Some affirmations on work and finances. Again, that same affirmation that universe is friendly and I'm supported in everything I do. My work fits me well. I have great passion for my work. I do my best at everything I can do because we believe we're always trying to do our best, unless we're just tired or fatigued. And we all have those days. But even in those moments, we're trying to do our best. Okay, great comments, guys. And if you have a low self-esteem, I see somebody's doing that. So do affirmations on that. So if your low self-esteem is you don't feel deserving, just say, you know what? My birthright. I have a sticky note actually right here. Probably can't see it. Let me see if, and it just says, I am an expression of God. God doesn't make junk. And if your belief system isn't God, it's maybe that whatever created you in this moment, whatever made you who you are, whatever life force came into you and created your bones, your muscles, your smile, your personality, whatever that energy that flows through you, there is something there that created you and is flowing through you. And you are a powerful person. Yes. Amy says, I'm worthy and capable of the change my goals. I like that. So on home, maybe it is my home is up to date and comfortable. My family, others, and I love our home. I feel comfortable in my home. I feel safe in my home. If it's relationships, maybe I am true to myself. I feel free to be myself in whatever circumstances. Others voice that they feel better when I'm around, or maybe the world's a little brighter place when I'm with my friends and family. So those are all just different affirmations. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one here. And I'm going to talk about this EFT tapping. Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is the fun thing here. We're going to be talking about emotional freedom technique, and it's a way to create balance in the body and retune the responses or those trigger points. Okay. It's a technique that you can do, your children can do, your adults, family, friends can do. It's so incredibly easy. And what you're doing is using the body's energy system. Remember, I told you that we're energy from head to toe, every muscle, every cell. There's these lines that run through our body. You can't see them, they're invisible, but they're energy pathways, how the energy typically is known to flow through our bodies. And what you can do is you can use your your neurosystem, I'm going to call it, to create ease and less resistance in these pathways, and to be able to create new signals and new ways of thinking. Okay. So it's about taking whatever statement, whatever fear statement you had. So let's go back to those fear statements we were talking about. Okay. So what is a trigger? What kind of fear triggers you? Many of you mentioned different kinds of fears. Think about that right now in your mind. Okay. What fear? Is it gaining your weight back? Is it um, having, I don't know, having not feeling deserving, if it's an emotional thing. So if it's a physical thing, an emotional thing, a mental thing, whatever it is, think about it right now. I'm going to give you just a second. And if you have a piece of paper, write it down, because that can be super helpful. Write it down. Write it down right now. Okay. Number two, rate the feeling. So, more than likely, if you've determined that you have something that you want to change, usually your rating from 1 to 10, that 0 would be no feeling, no trigger. 10 would be feeling very strongly. Most of the time, if something comes up for you and you feel uncomfortable enough to want to do EFT tapping on it, it's likely going to be a 6 or stronger. It's going to be something that you want to work on. So, rate it on a scale 1 to 10. Okay. 10 being the worst, the strongest feeling, and 0 being none. Somebody says, fear of failing. That was one of my fears. Okay. Eyes watching, gaining weight, all of those things. People are rating it. Some of theirs is an 8 or whatever it is. So again, feel how strong that feels in your body. And you can actually even feel it in your body, as in like it becoming discomfort, like in your shoulders or your back or wherever, your stomach. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip that with an affirmation. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to tap on these different points, and you're going to use an affirmation that feels right for that phrase that you're saying. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example, and you can follow along with me with these EFT tapping points. So you can start any of these points. You don't have to do them in a certain order. They're just points that help to send signals to that amygdala and to different parts of your body to reprogram yourself. Okay. So if your fear is gaining your weight back, you could start by saying, I am confident in my choices. So you can use a couple fingers, you can use one finger. I'm using two. So I'm starting here at the top of my head. Okay. I'm going to move this top of the head. And then you could use the same exact affirmation, or you can change it up. So if I said, I'm confident in the decisions I make, I trust myself right here at the eyebrows, in the inner eyebrow area. I trust myself. And you're just tapping. I know that I can make change. This is right here under the eye. Okay. I know that I can make change. Hope you guys are doing it with me. Right here on the sides of your eyes. Anything is possible. And I believe in the impossible. You could do right here under your nose, tapping. I am extraordinary. I have superpowers. I know that I can do incredible, amazing things. I am powerful beyond all measure. I am strong. So we did the chin. Now we're doing right here under the collarbone. I am strong. I am confident. I'm deserving. I know that I can be deserving. I know that it's possible to be deserving. Underneath your arms, right around the bra line in the middle area here, I am happy. I am powerful. I am free. I am worthy. Life is incredible for me. And then you can actually even do these little areas on the sides of your hands, this karate chop area. I am powerful. I am powerful. I am confident. I am confident. So that's kind of just a whole rundown. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to take some, while you're doing this, and I didn't really do it, I kind of went through it kind of quickly, but take some breaths, like slow your nervous system down. Listen to what you're saying. And if it helps you, you can print out that affirmation sheet, or if you've written down your own affirmations, those are really powerful because you feel them in your heart. Say them as you're going through these points. And you can do this, like if you did this likely every single day, and if you even did it multiple times throughout the day, I can promise you that you're going to see changes within, maybe even the first day, the first week, the first month. Like, what happens if you program yourself to feel powerful? What happens if you program yourself to feel confident? It says, do you have to tap all spots? No, you do not. You can just use a couple of them. I mean, it's really, those are just pathways to send signals to different spots in your body. Tap the ones you feel the most drawn to. And there's tons of other tapping spots, but these are the ones that are just commonly used and just easy. So see if we have any other comments here. Okay. Stephanie says, boy, I understand that. TC, I had 3 different doctors watching. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I worked in a surgical clinic whenever I had my weight loss surgery, and the surgeon that did my surgery was the was there in our clinic all the time. So eating lunch, eating dinner, and then lots of patients throughout our program. So yeah, I always felt like I was being watched too. Totally understand. Okay, any questions regarding EFT, the emotional freedom technique? I'd love to know if you have any comments. Like, re-rate how you feel now with that same fear that you had coming up before. Is it any less? Do you feel any better? Do you feel like it's a little lighter on a scale of 1 to 10? Somebody says 4 now. Okay. Yeah, you know what, Wesley? Wesley says, my sister is always harping me about this. She runs a spa yoga Reiki center, and she was right. You know what? We always have to hear it from somebody else. My kids, I've tried teaching these things to them since they were little, and now they're kind of starting to believe some of these things because they're seeing the results of them themselves. Yeah, it's incredible. You have to hear it from somebody else. You have to hear it from somebody else. Okay, I'm going to go back to our presentation. So, okay, next thing here, I'm going to watch our time too. Next thing here, food swaps. Okay, so distract in something or engage in something different. So if it's food that you're wanting to distract yourself with, maybe it's like if you're having a sweet craving, maybe looking for something else. Like, for example, if it's sweet that you're looking for, maybe it is like a piece of fruit. If it's a texture thing, like something crunchy, I know sometimes a carrot may not do the trick for chips, but maybe like today I bought some of these. They were cheese chips. They're made from like a type of cheese, like Parmesan cheese, and they were like little crisps that you can eat, and they were high in protein. So I felt a little better eating those. I do have a handout on food swaps. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We actually did a whole presentation on food swaps before. Yeah, the squash is really good. Wesley said he has a whole garden full and makes it often. That is one of the food swaps that I have in here. Yes. So swap out mayo. I'm just going to go through a couple of these. We did a presentation on this before. If you look at our YouTube channel, you can probably find it. It was food swaps that taste so good. Swap out mayo for mustard. Order a tall instead of a venti as far as Starbucks. And here we have go for cauliflower rice. And here we have make it open faced. So, another thing too is I don't have other types. This is all on food, but like let's say it's that you're having an aversion to soda. Is there anything? There's so many different flavored waters out there, maybe an orange crush water, or if it's alcohol and you're wanting to distract yourself from alcohol. For me, just having something to sip on and having something flavorful, maybe having a lemon or lime or dressing it up a little bit can help. Like, what are you wanting to distract yourself from? Ask yourself and get your mind in focus. Wherever your mind is, wherever your focus is what you're going to be concentrated on and where you gear that habit, that new habit. So, okay, I'm looking at some of these comments. I'm going to kind of stop there on the food swaps just because there's 30 of them. And for time's sake, I'm going to kind of keep going on our presentation. So be sure and look at that handout that we have on that. Some pretty cool stuff. Okay. Next here is reminders. Reminders to support a change. So sticky notes. Sticky notes, I have sticky notes all over the place. I keep them at different places to remind me. Like, for example, that little sticky note that says I am an expression of God. I have that here on my desk. I've seen sticky notes. I've had them in my bathroom before as I'm getting ready. Like you are incredible. You are extraordinary. You are powerful. You are confident. Just little things to remind you that it can be an affirmation. It can be a short little word that's just as like happy or joyful. I actually have reminders on my phone that pop up. There's apps that you can download and little affirmations or little positive thoughts will pop up on your phone just to kind of get you in the right frame of mind during the day. I also set phone reminders to remind me to help take my vitamins because for whatever reason, sometimes I have a hard time with that, especially since they're spread out throughout the day. Like, what do you guys use for reminders? How do you support your own change? Do you use sticky notes? Do you use phone reminders? I take notes. I have notebooks. So notebooks help me to remind myself. Oh, I have the background turned off so you can't see, but I have lots of notebooks that help me support change. I have reminders to help me remember to do the things that I want to do. Just all different kinds of ways to support that change. Calendars, absolutely, calendars are helpful. Different things. You can actually set reminders on your phone just to pop up if you have a smartphone. Like you ask your Siri button saying, Siri, do this or that. Remind me at 9:00 to do this. Okay. Wesley says he has a big picture of himself, full body on the fridge, and he looks at it instantly makes me lose my appetite. Oh, so maybe it reminds you to be healthy, like you want to make a change, but I hope isn't something that negatively reinforces how you feel about yourself, because you don't want to reinforce if you feel bad about yourself. I mean, maybe you put a picture up there of what you think you're going to look like whenever you get to a certain size. I get it. I mean, but also I don't want you to feel bad about yourself, because even I sometimes will talk to myself as a reminder. I time jump back to where I was when I first started in my journey. And I remind myself, you know what, you are powerful. You can do big things. There's this person inside myself that has, your soul doesn't necessarily change. You may become more confident. You may feel more strong in all of these ways, but you're that soul, that energy that breathes your body. it is something to be recognized. Okay. You guys have some great reminders. Somebody says, I have gift cards at bought. Oh, my little thing jumps every time somebody else comments. So hard for me to keep up. There's so many. Somebody has them tapped next to their fridge. Sometimes somebody watches Dr. Now to remind myself to stop eating. Remind myself to keep up the good work and lose that weight. Berry-tastic app. Somebody uses that. Phone reminders. With supplement to keep. Keep ProCare caramel, calcium, vitamin E2s in person. It tastes like a treat. Keep ugly picture at highest weight. Picture unhealthy food hanging off my body, like fat to repel. So I guess those are kind of like reinforcers that you don't want. So you're telling yourself you want to change. Um, yeah. I like watching the 600-pound life show too. It's just it helps remind you, everybody's journey. It always makes me feel not alone because other people are in this journey along with all of us, and that we're not alone. There's others, and some people, everybody's journey is a little different. You have to remind yourself maybe your journey is a little easier than someone else's, or maybe your journey may be a little harder than someone else's, but you can do this. Okay. Number 9, here we go. Reinforce the change. So, ways to keep the momentum going. How do you do it? So, we've talked about motivation before, and we've talked about what keeps you motivated. Sometimes it's hard to keep yourself motivated on a high level. But for me, the biggest thing is consistency, just showing up. If you just show up, let's take the gym, for example. For me, some days I don't feel like going to the gym. Some days I just feel like staying home. What gets me there is my why, my reason. Like I know that I'm going to be able to see changes. I may not see immediate changes each day, but I will over time see changes. And that kind of gets me going. And that's a little motivation, but consistency of showing up, even on the days that it's harder to do that. And that talks about a lot of these habits: consistency, repetitiveness, doing, if you use some of these different techniques, doing the affirmations, doing the EFT, doing the food swaps. And we're going to be talking about a habit tracker here in a moment to be able to track those and see where you are. Because some days, for me, perfectionism can get in the way. I think, okay, I decided I was going to work out this morning and I didn't make it. So now I'm just done for the day and I'll try again tomorrow. Same with food. How many times did I tell myself before I had weight loss surgery, I'm starting this diet today. By the end of the day, I wasn't doing well on the diet, and then I'll start tomorrow, or I'll start after the weekend. Instead of just saying, you know what, I can start right now, this moment right now, I can do one thing to make myself feel better. Anybody else have that? Have that as a thing that they've struggled with before, having the perfectionism get in the way? I'd love to know, because I think that for me, that can keep you stuck. That has kept me stuck in the past. So prepare for slip ups. Let go of the all or nothing mindset, meaning that you have to be all in or out, all out, and let go of having to have something happen immediately. Like if you're working out, let go of the need to see immediate changes. Take pictures of yourself now. Compare them to a month from now. Compare them to 3 months from now. Compare them to a year from now. When a year ago, whenever I started really looking at my life and looking at the things I wanted to change, I took pictures, I took measurements, and, each month I would write down how much weight change I'd had. If you do it day by day, sometimes you don't see those minor changes. And even if I lost a pound a month, sometimes that's all it was. Sometimes it was just 1 pound in 1 month. How easy is it to look over that, So tracking it. I am post-op 11 years. Post-op 11 years. So a little ways out. But this last year, the changes that I've made is I kind of met with a nutritionist, met And I also met with my primary care provider. I did start on a GLP-1, which was helpful. I also started on hormone replacement therapy because I'm 55, and I knew that that would help with my getting my hormones more balanced, getting my weight off. I also started back to the gym and started with a physical trainer. I actually every day too make myself do some type of improvement with my emotions, with my mental health. And what that looks like is personal development. So I spend at least minimum of 30 minutes, up to 2 hours or 3 hours a day doing personal development. That's pretty intense. I wanted to change. I wanted to change. I wanted to make some big changes. And so I'm committed and I'm going to keep doing that. I've always been interested in personal development, but I thought I'm going to be doing some major things to make my life change. So um, where do I get that time from out of my day? I do it when I'm getting ready. I listen to podcasts. I listen to different things. Um, like look, and change happens. You don't always see those big changes. What you're going to see is small little changes until all at once you start seeing these big results. And when I look at pictures of myself or I look at like the things in my life that have changed, it's incredible. Oh, thank you for the sweet comment. I appreciate that. Yeah. You know how your body reacts to the way you talk to it and how you treat yourself. So I feel 30. Um, so I tell myself that I'm young. I tell myself that I'm healthy. Number two, enlist support when needed. So there are different types of support: family, friends, counselors, communities like this one. Stay with us, be with us. Engage with other people who've had weight loss surgery. They understand you. Engage in communities where they understand you. And Wesley says body dysmorphia is a thing. Be aware. You see yourself heavy. Yes, I know. Like looking in the mirror, even now, I'm small. I'm as small as I was in high school. But sometimes it's hard for me to calculate that in my mind. You have to talk to yourself. You have to tell yourself these things. When this body dysmorphia pops up, you need to reinforce that you are changing, that you can change. So Stephanie says she's 64 and that played a part. Yeah, it is. Our bodies are incredible. And no matter what age is somewhat of an illusion too. How we feel in our bodies, how we move in our bodies, how our thoughts process in our bodies, all of those things make a huge difference in how we relate to this world. Remember how far you've come. So, if you're having a hard day and you're struggling in your journey, if you've had some weight regain or you've had some things happen, remember how far you've come. Remember back to whenever you started thinking about making this journey. And if you're pre-op, think about the things that you've done in the past. For me, sometimes I'll make a list of all the things that I accomplished just to remind myself that I can do hard things. I can do hard things. Made it through college. I made it through nursing school. I made it through my master's program. I made it through working with I made it through raising children. I made it through a marriage of me and my husband's been together since I was 14 years old. We started dating whenever I was in high school, and we're still together. So, like these things in our life that we may think are small accomplishments may be great accomplishments. Here we go. And we're right at 6 o'clock. I'm going to kind of talk about just a few more things right before we jump off. I understand if time wise you need to go, but just a few more things. Yeah. Amy says quitting nicotine is a huge accomplishment. I did that too. I feel like, the things that we do. So okay, so habit trackers. I have a habit tracker and I have an example of one. I'll show you here in a moment that's in that handouts page. But tracking your habits. So maybe week one, you're all on track. Maybe your goal is 30 minutes of walking 5 days a week and you hit that. The next week, life happens. You have some appointments that get in the way. You have your children are in sports and they're doing things. So you only get 2 days. And then you think the next week, you know what, I'll do this, but I don't know how committed I am. So you do it one day and then you just drop off. Instead of quitting right there, go back. Tell yourself, I can do hard things. I know I can stay committed to myself. I know I can stay committed. For me, the physical activity, I had to find time in the morning because that was the easiest way for me to stay committed. And I had to tell myself, you know what? I can make time for myself. I don't know why I never thought I could make time for myself. My health is important to me. My health is one of the most important things. So the habit trackers looks like this. And then there is a page that you can print off. So it has little motivational things at the bottom, like motivation is what gets you started, habit is what keeps you going. So feel free to print those off. I also want to kind of go back here and I just want to say, you guys remember, become aware of your habit, know your why, know what your triggers are, consider the result to be a reward and know why you're doing it. You're reinforcing it for a reason. Tools for transforming. We talked about mindfulness and intention. We talked about affirmations. We talked about EFT tapping. We talked about distraction. We talked about reminders. And then how to reinforce that change, how to prepare for slip ups. What you can do is what I like to do at the end of the day is reevaluate my day. I look at my day and I say, how could I change? What can I do different tomorrow to make these changes stick? If I wasn't able to get my protein in, do I need to go to the grocery store? If I wasn't able to drink my water, is it because it was too cold? It was too hot? Do I need more flavor in it? And remember how far you've come, guys. You guys are all incredible. I just want to go back. I'm going to show you where the handouts can be found. They're on our ProCare Now website. So www.procarenow.com. And you just travel over to the Berry Connected page to our support group handouts. Find all of them there. And then also, I just want to mention these events, you guys, we do, if you found this helpful, we do live events. We were doing about 5 events a month. Now we're going to be doing about 3 to 4 events a month, almost weekly. And we talk about all different things related to bariatric surgery. This month we had Rodolfo talking about people pleasing. And last night we had the Berry Male Experience guys talking about the Berry Male Experience podcasters talking about their own experience. You can click onto any of these and watch the replay. They're on demand till the end of the month. We also, the support group will be on replay as well. So if you want to come back and press the replay, all you have to do is click, use the same link that you did to register for today's event, and it'll be on demand till the end of this month. We also put all of our replays on our Berry Connected podcast. It's called Berry Connected on Spotify, on YouTube, on iHeartRadio, all of those major podcast stations. So you can go there and listen. We always have the replays available the following week on Tuesday. You can listen immediately to the replay using on demand, the link. But if you want to listen on the podcast, we have it there. We also have, if you click on our website here, you also have access to the YouTube channel. When you click on that, it will bring you up to our ProCare Health Vitamins and Supplements, ProCare Health YouTube channel. And we currently have over 340 videos there. So lots and lots of topics, anything that you can imagine related to bariatric surgery. So feel free, subscribe. There's a subscribe button on your channel, and subscribe because you'll get reminders of when new things are added so that you know. I also want to say, back on that page that I just was on our Berry Connected, we do have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. So these people that are here on this call, many of them probably are already members of that Facebook page and Facebook group, but it's a great way to connect with other patients. We keep the positivity running high. So please feel free. This is what it looks like. Our group looks like this. Our page looks like this. So our page is Berry Connect and our group is Berry Connected. And you just ask to join and we'll keep you joining there. So, and credit for this class, if you are attending this as part of a prerequisite for like a pre-op requisite for your surgery, I do have about 50 facilities that I send the attendance to, and I will be doing that next week, likely on Thursday or Friday. So I will send attendance to those groups. When you register for these events, you put in your name, You put in your program name and you put in all that information. So it's all stored for me so that I can send that in an Excel sheet to them. So I send that, it'll be sent next Thursday or Friday if you're listening to the live event. If you're listening to a replay on Zoom, I also collect that information and send those at that same time. So if you've listened within the week post-op, I don't have any way to collect it if you watch it off YouTube. So if you're watching off YouTube, your program, you would have to just tell them. I don't have a way to confirm registration to that. I hope that makes sense. I have so enjoyed all of you. I appreciate each of you, and I really appreciate you guys spending time with me and being here for yourself because you're showing up. You're showing up for yourself. Love each of you and have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Enjoy and go out there, make some changes. Remember, when you're making a change, it can be uncomfortable. But if you don't make that change, remember, staying comfortable in the same place becomes uncomfortable. So you're going to have discomfort either way. Would you rather it be intentional, changing intentionally and doing it? You can do it slowly if the comfort level is not very strong. So have a great evening. Bye and enjoy those new changes you're making. I can't wait to hear about them. Bye, guys.